Hey, it's Tate. I'm really excited to show off this run. I think it's a perfect example of how a build adapts and evolves throughout the days, and it highlights some really key points into a strong early game and then a really strong late game. So this build is Oni Mask. It's this item here, and what it does is it scales your burn items, meaning it gives your burn items extra burn whenever you crit. So the whole focus of an Oni Mask build is stacking as much crit as possible on your board and burn items to apply an extreme amount of burn to your opponent. So let's start and look at day one. So day one, I have a Fiery Shrimp from the enchanted items. So that's going to be my win condition moving forward. I want to focus my build around this shrimp so that it does as much damage as possible. So to support the shrimp, I was able to pick up a lighter and I was able to pick up a pop snappers. The life preserver is also really strong because it's on day one it's going to heal 200 of my 350 health, so my opponent's going to have to do 550 damage to kill me, and my burn's going to scale and take them out over time. Now the integrated HUD here is going to increase the critical strike chance of my lighter, and then it's just going to potentially give me a slow trigger to buff the mantis shrimp. But right now, I am looking to say, or I'm looking to see more slow items in my run, but I could also find more burn items. All right, so on day two, there's a couple of additions. We add the volcanic vents. What this is doing is it's just helping our burn win condition. It's going to add more and more burn to our opponent, hopefully, taking them all the way down to zero. We also added a skill. This is going to just give us loot every single day. It's just going to be a little bit of trickle of econ and potentially a cinders to help scale our burn items. So day three here, our build's starting to level up. We upgraded our integrated HUD, so it's going to give more critical strike chance to the lighter. The fiery shrimp got upgraded so that it scales even more when it gets slow triggers. We added a beach ball. Now the beach ball is okay here. It really is filler. I would have preferred it to be any slow item or any burn item. However, it's going to haste 3 aquatic items, so itself, the vents, oh, and toy, the pop snappers, the shrimp, and the life preserver. So it does help with the synergy of this build, but it's not insanely great. Upgraded the life preserver. I love doing this early. On day three, a silver life preserver is healing all of your health, so you basically get 2 lives for the price of a medium item. Now, unfortunately, that this board didn't win, but it's okay. So day four, big transition here. We added a Zorcid. We added the Eluso Ray. We added Mr. Richardson. We added a Corzina Crest, and we added shot glasses. In addition, we added the Bloodhound skill, but let's talk about the items first. So Zorcid, it's hasting my win condition. The Elusoray, it's adding slow triggers, which is scaling my win condition. The Mr. Richardson is getting scaled from the haste triggers and the slow triggers of my entire board. So that's shot glasses is doing 4 slow, 4 haste. The Elusoray is 3 slow. The Zorcid is 2 hastes. So this is getting scaled really hard. And the shot glasses is an amazing item for slow. It's going to give me 4 slow triggers, buffing my mantis shrimp. And I just have a little bit of critical strike right now as filler, but the crit also benefits the lighter because when the lighter crits, I'll get a slow trigger from the integrated HUD. So that was a pretty big day for me. It kind of shifts the board and it really focuses this around a slow based burn build. The Bloodhound skill I find to be very good. What this does is when your opponent reaches half health, it charges all your items too. So it's just you're getting more procs from your items. I find that to be incredibly strong. Now another thing I wanted to note is you can benefit your power by increasing your I guess upgrading your board, adding strong items to your board, adding good skills, upgrading skills, but you can also gain power by leveling up. So I noted here that I've gained 2 XP more than your normal amount of XP. So let me explain that real fast. So back on day one, let's just look down here at the XP. I have 2 pips filled and I'm level 2. I have 2 pips filled and I'm level 3. I have 2 pips filled and I'm level 4. But now I have 4 pips filled and I'm level 5. So in your standard day of the bazaar, you'll get 8 experience points. You get 1 per hour, and then you get 3 from the PvE fight if you win, and then you get 2 more from the last two. But you also get one at the start of the run. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But let's say you fight a monster that gives you 4 experience. Now you're +1 your normal amount. Or you take Study Hall, which gives you 2 experience. Now you're +1 your normal amount. So on day 4, I was able to obtain 2 extra experience points, which doesn't do anything on its own now. But if I were to level up and be a level ahead of my opponent, that's a big bonus to your board because it's going to give you additional health. And that additional bonus health is going to scale as the game progresses. All right, so day 4, the build is shaping up to be a slow burn build. Okay, so day 5, I was able to add the pepper spray. I took out the crest because the crit at this point of the game I didn't feel was like insanely powerful. And what this will do is it'll slow all of my opponent's items if I go below 50% health. Um, now this is a really defensive build. I've got a life preserver, I've got the slow when I get to half health, and I have an additional shield from the rest event. So it's possible that doesn't even trigger, but nonetheless, I upgraded the Bloodhound skill. That makes it so now they charge 3. All right, so in day 5, I got that win. Moving on to day 6, I was able to upgrade the Zorsid. I was adding the fishnet over the life preserver. Now, this was an interesting choice. The fishnet being gold was the primary driver behind that. This will slow 3 items. At bronze, this item is horrible. It just slows 1 item. At silver, slowing 2 items for a 6-second cooldown is like okay. But at gold, I was like, all right, that's worth it because it's helping synergize my Fiery Mantis Shrimp. Then I also got the skill down here, which makes it so that whenever my items burn, they gain a burn. So the lighter will do 7, and then the next time it'll do 8, and it helps the shrimp out a little bit. Um, this isn't necessarily insanely strong with this setup, but it does open up doors in the future. So this day I got 1 additional experience, so now I'm 5 pips out of 8 to getting to the over level state. All right, so day 7, I had one day 6. Now I don't have any additions to my board, which is wild. No upgrades, no items in, but that's because I got 3 skills. One being my burn items get +3 burn. Whenever I burn, I get regen, and whenever I freeze, my items gain critical strike chance. But I got 8 additional experience, which is absolutely nuts. You can see here I'm 5 pips out of 8, but I'm level 7. And now I have the same amount of pips, but I'm level 9. So I completely skipped a level. I'm up a level on my opponent, and I want you guys to either guess how that happened or go look at the VOD that I'm going to post of the full run and just go to day 7 because it's pretty insane getting 8 additional experience. All right, even though we got that additional experience, we didn't beat our opponent, but it does set us up for the future, so I wasn't too upset about that loss. All right, so in day 8, again, no board upgrades, but down here, I got an additional skill. I got it so whenever I burn, I freeze an item for 2 seconds, and then I got additional critical strike chance on my rightmost item. So that crit I took because I'm thinking to myself, oh, the Oni Mask is a really powerful late game item, but it needs crit to be enabled. So I was like, okay, this would help enable that. Everything else, all of these skills point towards that as well, but they also support my current board. So I kind of have 2 avenues I can go, which is really nice to have. You have more options of, things. If you don't get an Oni Mask, you could go one way, but if you do, you can take that route. Now this day I was also able to get 5 additional experience. So now I'm 2 levels over my opponent. I'm level 11 with 2 pips, and they're level 9. So even though my board didn't upgrade, I'm now 2 levels up, and that's just insanely strong. So even though I was 2 levels up, I didn't win. Again, I wasn't super down because my board didn't get stronger at all. I was just gaining additional XP and getting some skills, but I was setting myself up for the future. So, day 9, big transition here. I added a dive weights that's poisoned. I'll talk about that in a second. I added an Oni Mask, I added 2 Pop Snappers, I added back the crest, and I added a holsters. So what I did here was I was saying, okay, well, those 2 last boards weren't winning. I need to scale into the late game. Oni Mask is a great way to do that. So I'm going to put the Oni Mask in. I'm going to add some critical strike. I'm going to haste my slow items to get the engine going quicker. I moved my lighter over to the right to benefit from the critical strike chance. And I added a poison enchant to the dive weights. Now, my level up options for level 10 were either a heal enchant or a poison enchant, and I didn't really like either of those, but it was nice getting the poison enchant on the dive weights because now the dive weights can critically strike. So that's very important for an Oni Mask build, is that when this goes off, it'll go off 5 times, and each of those individual actions has the chance to critical strike, and if they critical strike, it's going to buff all of my burn items. So Dive Weights on its own can't critically strike, but enchanting it gives it the chance to critically strike. I upgraded the burn gain regen skill, and I got 1 additional XP. So when I moved into the Oni Mask build, I did get the win. So day 10, I'm looking to fully dive into Oni Mask, and I'm just looking to support it. And how do you support Oni Mask? You just get more critical strike. You get fast burn items. You really want incendiary rounds. That item will scale incredibly well. But what I did on day 10 here is I got a Corsina Crest upgraded, so it's 10 additional critical strike chance for all my items, and then I have a shield enchant on my lighter. I really liked getting the shield on my lighter because the lighter will grow in size due to the Oni Mask. The burn will keep going up and up and up, which means the shield will go up. And the shield is 5 times my burn, so if my burn is getting 6 additional burn, my shield is getting 30 additional shield. So it's just helping with some of the defenses that this build lacks. But my defense in this board is my health because I'm 2 levels up on my opponent and this shield. All right, so day 12, or sorry, going from day 10 to 11, I didn't win my day 10 fight, but it was primarily, let's go back, due to these pop snappers, they just ran out of ammo and I couldn't stack any more burn. Like they just were, duds. So in day 11, I wanted to get rid of them, and I found a diamond flame signal. So the diamond flame signal in itself will burn every 5 seconds, but it's going to haste the items to the left and to the right. So my lighter is going to get hasted, and my Oni Mask is going to get hasted. I found a skill where my leftmost item gains a ton of critical strike. It's a diamond skill, so that was very powerful. So I moved the lighter over to the left to benefit from the diamond critical strike chance versus the silver critical strike chance. Now here I also got 1 additional XP, just a good little bonus. And I have a shield on me. So picking up the shield, you sacrifice the chance of getting more items, upgrades, etc. But, you really do, you get the opportunity to win the fight here. All right, so day 11, moving into day 12, I've got Oni Mask upgraded. That's a big hit. It just gives you more scaling. And I upgraded the Corsina Crest, so there's more critical strike chance. So you can see those 2 elements are the entire build. More critical strike chance and more scaling from the critical strike chance. Now, I also got 6 additional XP this day, which is, awesome. I've had some very, very high XP gain days. And because of that, on day 12, I'm level 16 and my opponent's level 13. So I've got 3 levels of additional HP on my opponent, and I've got the level up rewards from each of those levels. So on day 16, one of the level up rewards is an upgrade, so that's, how I got my Oni Mask upgraded. So extra health, free upgrade, these levels are really adding up for me. All right, won my day 12 fight. Going into day 13, board doesn't change at all. I got a crit skill. It was actually a little bit of a low roll. I took the crit skill, and the first 3 options were really bad, and I re-rolled, and the other 3 options were all silver and bad. But I took this skill, which is going to give me 2% crit on this fight, so it's a little bit meh. This build right in itself is, one of the more powerful Vanessa builds, so I wasn't super concerned. I got 3 additional XP, and I end up winning that day 13 fight. So now I have 1 life. If I die, I lose. If I win the run. On day 14, I was able to find incendiary rounds. throughout the other days too, I was able to get some additional ammo on my dive weights. But I wanted to highlight this because incendiary rounds is one of the best items to pair with Oni Mask due to Oni Mask scaling the incendiary rounds and then my dive weights going off next to the incendiary rounds, applying just a tremendous amount of burn. On this day, I almost got to level 19, so I would have been 2 levels up, but instead I'm just 1 level up, and it's kind of unfortunate the 7 XP is wasted because being 18 with 0 is effectively the same as 18 with 7 XP when you have one fight to go. Now, that's okay. There was just a chance that I would have gotten it, which would have been fun. All right, so last fight, I end up winning. I beat the pig, and I wanted to put the recap screen just so you guys could see how powerful this is. The incendiary rounds ended up almost doing 3,000 burn by itself. That's because the dive weights went off 24 times next to the incendiary rounds while the Oni Mask was buffing it. So I got 9,000 shield from the lighter. It's a bronze lighter with a shield enchant, and it did 9,000 shield. That's 3/4 of my health. So all in all, having the skills to enable the crit, having a couple of the items and some key upgrades here and there, while being extremely high leveled, ended up getting me 10 wins on this run. All right, hope you enjoyed the build evolution. Thank you. Hope to see you in the next one.